So I waited the day out until it was warm enough to come outside, and I've the feedback I'm getting is I think more people tune in to see what my dogs might be doing behind me than to hear what I have to say. But what I have to say, I think, is important enough and hopefully entertaining enough that it might even make it worthwhile if my dogs decide to stay calm, which they are right now. So the theme this week is being hard on ourselves, being the self-critical voice in our heads, and whether or not being hard on ourselves actually makes us any better people, any better lawyers, or whether it just makes life harder. And in the profession and in life in general, in society in general, but especially in the profession, we lawyers we're critical thinkers, and the self-criticism that kind of could maybe be in there just seems to take over sometimes. And it just becomes habitual, and we are habitually just saying, "Oh, I'm no damn good. I should have done this better. I could have done that. Don't you see?" And we not only accept it, we tend to idolize it and say it's great. Oh yeah, that's great. It keeps me on my toes. It keeps me from making the same mistake twice. It keeps me humble. And the fallacy is that our self-image hasn't caught up with ourself. We still think we're that person that needs to be beaten up or whatever, kept in line and chastised in order to keep us out of trouble. We're not that person anymore. But anyway, I digress because I'm digressing from the digression that I have for this week. And the digression I have this week is that I've noticed this for a long time, but it's coming up so often in my clients right now, is their inability to receive. They're great at giving, but when it comes to receiving, whether it's a compliment or some abundance or just love or whatever, they're reticent to do it. And that could seem noble, better to give than receive, but really in a way it's tragic because it keeps us from being able to receive what life wants to give us. So when this came up, I thought, wow, wait a second, I'm not supposed to be talking about that. I'm supposed to be talking about being hard on ourselves. And I thought, there's a connection. And not one of those connections, that we have. I know I had as a trial lawyer where I have to kind of jam two things that didn't make sense and somehow massage them or, mush them up so they seem like they fit together. No, these actually fit together because the relationship between being hard on ourselves and not being able to receive is as long as we feel we're unworthy, as long as we still think we're the person that needs to be beaten up and we want to beat ourselves up, we're not going to feel as if we're deserving of the things that life want to bring us. And that might mean that we push things away. It might things that we steer away from opportunities that come our way, or even if it comes our way, we feel guilty about it. And so I can tell you there's no nobility into not receiving. I'm not talking about taking, I don't want anything that's not mine. But that which is mine, whatever that means, or that which can come to me, I want to be able to accept it. I want you to be able to accept it. And I want you to stop disqualifying yourself because you think you just don't deserve it. You're not ready for it. You're not the perfected version of yourself. So please just keep everything that I want, that I'm working so hard for. That's the irony. We work so hard for stuff. And then when it comes our way, we go, no, I'm not ready. I don't deserve it. And I don't want you to do that anymore. That's ridiculous. It's a waste. There's no nobility to it. I don't think there's any extra points we get in heaven for suffering. This is what I call gratuitous suffering. There's a certain amount of suffering that comes with life. And then there's gratuitous suffering, which we bring upon ourselves. And being hard on ourselves is a form of gratuitous suffering. Putting up with that voice, accepting that voice, even honoring that voice as being the truth, that brings gratuitous suffering. And specifically, it contributes to our refusal to accept that which life or people or love or God, whatever you want to call it, whatever that wants to give us, we just say we don't want it. And I want to stop that. And that's why, again, this will come up in the webinar this week. But I really invite you to come, so we could just put a stop for a while to this voice in our head. Stop saying, yeah, it's okay. You're my buddy. You and me, we're together. You just keep telling me what a jerk I am and we're going to go far. I want you to stop that. I want you to, we can stop it. The voices get prattling going on in your head, but you don't pay any attention to it. And secondly, I want you to be able to see yourself and understand yourself well enough to know you don't need to be beaten up anymore. And you certainly should not refuse the gifts that life wants to bring to us. So join me this Friday. There, we got the dogs in. Okay, on cue. I can stop now. Anyway, see you Friday.